Greetings everyone, Rev.Hawksblood here, calling from the big island of Hawaii. I'm going to go into a lot of things. I know most UFO people don't like to hear the truth. They rather believe it, the little lies that come out, or the big lies that come out, and the great stories. Well, if there was a real UFO great story, it would be around the world, wouldn't it? All right, now, Roswell is ancient people. It happened a long time ago, and they only talk about one ship, don't they? I went on a vision quest. I studied with a medicine man for a while, Hopi Elder. His grandfather was one of 3 people that met with the alien that crashed in the ship when Roswell happened, the other ship up in the mountains, and stayed with that alien for 9 months. He wrote a thesis in college and got not a Nobel Prize, but a real high award for writing it, even though he wrote about aliens and they didn't really want to give it to him. But the story's real, people. But again, people like to hear what people talk about over and over and becomes brainwashing in your brain. So Roswell is a story that happened, and it's all twisted every which way, and it doesn't matter. It was 2 people. And at that time, a black and white person wasn't accepted too commonly as a marriage, never mind coming out and talking about aliens. It's a crazy story. All right, now on top of that, we have lots of stories coming out. You go to any UFO conference, you're going to hear tons of stories. And all these so-called whistleblowers coming out now telling their stories. Why is it they got to wait so long to come out with their stories? All right, I've been involved in the UFO world since I was 6 years old, people. I mean, I was next to an alien. I was next to a ship. I saw over 1,000 ships, at least, from close up and pretty close in my lifetime. Sergeant 18 and I worked together for 6 years. We filmed more UFOs than any other person inside the United States. And we showed those pictures for a year on Carrie Cassidy's show. Every week, we put more pictures up that we actually shot. All right? Not computer graphics or anything like that. All right? And I debate anybody to try to prove our stuff was wrong, except he got involved with shooting pictures in clouds of smoke. I didn't agree with that. That's something I'm not even going to get into, but we have actual photographs of UFOs. UFOs, not Tic Tacs. During that time frame, we filmed lots of entities, creatures, all kinds of weird stuff. But rather recently, about a year and a half ago, I'm sure he sold out to the government, or he died. I really hope he didn't die, but he kind of disappeared from everything, took everything we had online down. We did a show called Strange Universe. They even took that preview down. I still have it, and I sent it out to a couple people. But in the interim, he kind of disappeared. I wrote him a letter. We kind of had a disagreement, and we split because we did the show for 9 months. We had the biggest following. We had more people in the chat room than Carrie Cassidy ever did. We had more people hit the show the next morning. But near the end, we got into a conflict about a person, and then they wanted to charge me $50 to do a show. And I said, I don't get paid to do this, and I'm not going to pay $50 to do every show I do. And that's when it ended. But in the interim, I'm in Hawaii, and I can go out any night that it's clear, any morning that it's clear, and see UFOs, film them, or whatever. For the past 3 months, it's been cloudy every single night. We haven't had one night where it's clear all night. I mean, it might get clear for a half hour, but if you're trying to stay up all night to wait for that half hour, you're in trouble. So let's go past that. UFO conferences are growing in numbers on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis. And now, I want you to realize this, people. Most people in the UFO world, including all the people from Ancient Aliens, are doing it for one thing. not to bring important information out because they don't, about money. You know, a top speaker at a good UFO conference gets paid anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 to speak for what, 2 hours? Oh yes, they have to have dinner with everybody Friday night. But people like from coast to coast have no clue, never saw an alien, never saw a UFO, and go on, they're famous, they get paid top money to talk. I wouldn't pay anybody 2 cents talking about an alien if they never saw one. Oh, and they write books on what they think, what they feel, what they heard. All right, secondhand information is useless, people. It won't convince you anything's real. All right, on that, I'm talking about there's how many people in the UFO world right now speaking? A couple hundred. Top speakers, about maybe 50. All right. Now, when you go to these conferences, it's what? $250 to get in, or even a little more, depending on how many things you want to see. They have a bunch of things going off at the same time, which means you can only watch one person and not both people. But as that goes on, these people go into stories. And what you're going to hear is about Roswell. And they're still trying to prove that that's real. Doesn't matter. It's how old? It was only one incident of what really happened during that time frame. 3 ships were knocked down. All right? Taken down, whatever words you like. Now, a person I was with, studied with, or worked with, Robert Morningstar. Sorry, no, not him. Sorry, wrong person. Robert Morningsky. Two almost names the same, but Sky is a Hopi person where Robert Morningstar is not. But I went on a vision quest with him, and lots of things happened. His grandfather's the one that was actually with an alien when the ship crashed. All right, people, the story is real. All right, we were up in Flagstaff. There's there, an alien base and an army base. We were supposed to go to the base where they're cloning grays. Except some weird events happened and everybody freaked out and were afraid to go and all kinds of things. But, I'm never afraid to do anything anymore. I did just about everything anybody possibly could. I mean, I was a foot away from a Bigfoot, and he was right in back of me, breathing down my neck. I was the only time I didn't have a camera on me or nothing else, and I ran. And it was like, I kind of wish I didn't run at that time. But all the hype and all the stories about Bigfoot and everything else. It was the first time I saw it. I mean, I saw it twice after that, not the same one, in a different state. I heard him scream almost every night where I was living in Oregon. All right. So they're real. Okay. I could go on about what's real and what's not. Demons, entities, the UFO world don't get involved with that. They don't know the difference between either or dimensional beings and demons and the words. They have no clue. I've been involved with that all my life. I was doing exorcisms when I was 16. Ghostbusting, and I was doing exorcisms when I was 21. Then I started doing past life regression for people that had missing time, help people understand how and what happened when they were abducted. I worked with women years ago when I was about 22, 23 on, that were abducted, were pregnant, just about before birth, were taken, and their child was taken. All right. I had women prove it to me. So the sonograms, they went to the hospital the next day, and the hospital said, "Oh, you can't be pregnant. You couldn't have been pregnant." All right. So they completely removed everything from her. One of them was allowed to see the child a year later, got pregnant again, and a year after that, they took the second child from her. And they said, "You'll never see him again." But I'm doing a show with Tina Bird, probably the most important abductee in the UFO world right now. Abductee. She doesn't use the word experiencer, which is the biggest bull story in the UFO world, because no one, and I'm telling you the truth, people, I don't care what these people swear up and down, there's no such thing as a good experience with an alien. You don't get taken on a ship. Most of these people have never been on a ship, no matter what they say. There's radiation involved. There's a lot of things involved. Tina Bird's radioactive. She's very sickly. But her dog died of radiation poisoning in its bones. So, again, people, when these people go on about how great the experience was with aliens, is a lie. I call it mind programming. And there's two ways they get it, through the government or through aliens. In the UFO world, a lot of people are programmed to become and forced to be crazy. All right. Uh, I always say I'm crazy. I'm going sane. I'd rather be crazy going sane than sane going crazy. All right. And I say that all the time. But if you had the experiences that I did and did all the things I did, you would be in the same place I'm at, trying to put the truth out there over the lies, over the stories. Aliens are not good people. Everybody will say, oh, there's always good and bad. The human race. Who's good in the human race, really? What's good mean? They don't kill people? They abuse their children? I'd say 98% of every family abuses their child some ways, somehow. All families. Oh, no matter how much money they have, it doesn't make it different. Uh, Even that way, it makes it more hard to become a natural, actual human being, loving, compassionate. Uh, so let's go on about conferences. We lectured, Sergeant 18 and I, for about 6 years. Through global sciences, we traveled around the United States. People came. We had speakers from all over the world come. Top speakers at that time. But here's one thing. Most of the speakers are gone. The real good UFO speakers are gone. All of them. I mean, there's people left, like Whitney Schreiber and people like that. Here's a person, said he was abducted. It's a movie that's real on the internet, alien interrogation. It's real, people. And they showed a segment a long time ago on TV, and he was crying when they were showing it. All right. If he was abducted for real and aware what happened, he wouldn't be crying because they were interrogating an alien. But I have learned in the UFO world, the same as in the spiritual world, there's no real, honest, true people giving the truth out. Religious people have no clue about God. I mean, you talk about things. What are we working with? The new words, dimensional beings, six-dimensional beings, so-called spiritual beings. All right, how do you become a spiritual person? I'll tell you this. If you are, you cannot be abducted. Fact. And I'm not going to go into the stories right now. But how many people can say they're spiritual? 90% of the people in the spiritual realm, people in the UFO world, people that get abducted usually come back and say they're spiritual, become a healer, and write books on healing and everything else. Nobody on this planet can heal other people. And that's a fact, people, whether you want to believe that or not. Well, I saw this guy and I was healed. It's you that healed yourself, not him or her. All right, they use your own power. Jesus never took credit for anybody he healed ever. And he would say it was by your own faith, not mine. All right, in the UFO world, these speakers that claim their experiences go on about what the aliens showed them and things like that. Now, there's names out there like Corey Good. He said they showed him a blue race, which I challenge anybody, including him especially, about the blue race. There's 3 different blue races. I'm not going to say I'm from one race before I even came to planet Earth, but again, he goes, they showed him the past, present, and future. He said the world was going to be destroyed, 2 years ago? Now, another person came out a long time ago, George Cavalassius, and he claimed he was working with aliens. He went out to James Gillen's ranch, and I warned him. I said, you better be protected. And after that, his whole lecture talking changed, and he said the world was going to be destroyed in a year, which never happened either. These people that work with aliens get stories. That's all they ever get. Billy Myers came out in 1950. He was given 100 prophecies by his Pleiadians. All right. The one thing about that, 90 of them came true. In the time frame from then to now, 90 of them came true. But when you're given a prophecy and it doesn't change anything, is it important, or is it even a reality? If it doesn't change what's going to happen, what good is it? I mean, even Nostradamus, when he said, "Oh, the king's going to go out and get Lance and die," and he did. He didn't stop it. Uh, Two of my friends, not going to say their names, both predicted 9/11 in detail. One of them in detail, both what happened in Washington and New York City. Uh, Neither one of them were out there during the time when it was going to happen, where they should have been. Uh, I forgot about it until when it was happening. I realized, I said, wow, this was prophesied 1 year before it happened. Even I would have been there trying to say something. But a prophecy is only as good as the effects of it. Now, when you talk about Adam and Eve, Sodom and Gomorrah, all these stories, they were both stories. But when Sodom and Gomorrah, he was warned. And what happened? His wife turns around and gets destroyed. But it wasn't the same way. But they actually proved meteorites hit the planet. And she was probably burnt up that way. People, the stories are always twisted by man's limited awareness. In the UFO world, it's 10 times worse because now they're getting programmed by aliens. You go on a ship, and you're really on a ship, you're going to be programmed. You're going to be operated on, played with. Period, people. They're not going to sit you down at a dinner table and then take you somewhere and show you beautiful scenery. Not for real. In your mind, they can put that thought and an image. Just so you know, people, and I'm going to tell you things nobody talks about. They have a machine, they can put it on you and monitor and watch your dream. Seriously. It's energy. Your thoughts going through vibration, and that could be filtered. And just think, if you had a device that could filter and change any vibration and sound or signal and translate it, you'd know what's going on the whole planet everywhere. Because everything is in one square of space. All right. So let's go back to these people claiming at these UFO conferences. I met almost all of them, and a lot of them were even afraid to talk to me. They would run off stage when I stood before them. And I'm serious about that. Even Bud Hopkins, another storyteller, he never saw a UFO, was never next to an alien. He worked with hypnosis, and I met a few of the people he worked with. He didn't help them very much. When I was doing hypnosis, which I did when I was 14 for many years, I helped the person. I helped them see and understand what went down. All right, not Bud Hopkins did not do that. But he told the story, oh, they were abducted and they operated them. Yeah, well, we know that. Tina Bird, she just put a book out. Please buy it. If you want to know about abduction, what's really happening, what's really going on. The UFO world now calls everybody experiences. A ridiculous word, meaning they had a good experience with aliens. Oh, I guess they knocked on the door. Hey, bro, you want to go on a ship? You want to take a trip to Mars, and we'll show you around. We'll give you a nice meal. That would be not an abduction, right? But that didn't happen. They were standing in their bedroom and they're taken. So that would still be an abduction, people, not experiencer, meaning a good experience, which they all claim to have. So I've been in this world all my life. I saw my first ship come and abduct my brother when I was 6 years old, and I stopped it. At 12, there was an alien ship landed in my yard, and the alien was in our house. My friend and I chased it, the alien, when he came in our house. All right? We didn't know better, but we both had bats and chased it. My mother didn't believe what we were doing and said, what's going on with you? Let me talk to each one of you and all that. And I mean, whether she even ever really believed this or not, it doesn't matter. But I'm telling you, when I stood before a Bigfoot, it changed my life. Everything that happened in my life changed my reality of what we believe and perceive. And if you don't have an experience, you're not going to know much about it. Well, I believe in aliens. You can believe in whatever you want. But did you sit down with an alien? Did you get near an alien or anything? Any really thing happening with you with aliens? No. And if that didn't happen, you probably do not believe truly of aliens, which most people do not. They say they do. All right. Now, well, there has to be aliens. Has to be life and death, and yeah. But when and where and who and how and all that is remain to be seen. How many races were killed on this planet? How many times did aliens destroy civilizations? There is no good aliens. No ancient races here today. Why is that? People, we want to believe in good, love, and light. All right? Every New Age spiritual preacher, teacher, lecturer tries to make you believe that. Love is only 2,020 years old. On top of that, it's not the saving grace. If people believe Jesus was teaching love, why is the people around him kill them? If somebody's preaching love today, is everybody going to go out and kill him? Why would they? Because who's in power? Who's controlling people's minds and consciousness? And people don't want to believe in demons or Satan. They want it now. Christians and most people want to blame aliens as being demons, but they're separate. They're not the same. I work with both. I did exorcisms, ghost busting, and all that. So they're not the same at any way. Demons and entities and all that don't travel in ship. Any kind of ship. They don't need a ship. Aliens do. No matter what planet, what universe they're from, they travel in ships. Even if it's a light ship, they travel in ships. All right. So here's the thing now, people. What are we in? 2023. We're going into 2024. I'm telling you, we got about 6 years before every single thing you know will change. If Trump gets in, it'll change even faster. But UN Agenda 21-30 is at stage 5. I just moved it up from 4 to 5. What's happening to the United States right now? What's happening to the world? The sun is going crazy, and it will be going worse over the next 2 years. Scientists didn't admit that until last week. They said it was supposed to happen 10 years from now. But the supernovas and flares and everything that's happening with the sun is super amounts of radiation. The first wave hits us right away. The second wave takes up to 2 years. So everything that's happening right now, every single day, those waves are forming. Sure, they're hitting the planet. And the waves, everything's changing. But that's not the answer. And aliens are not helping us right now. And they're not going to. If you know anything about aliens, which I'm sure you don't know much about them, they're all radioactive. They need radiation. I mean, we build things. All our satellites run on radiation and everything else. But you got somebody like Musk coming out saying the satellites are leaking radiation. That's not a good thing because they do crash eventually and everything else. But people, when you get abducted and you're taken on a ship, what do you think they want you for? You think they travel the universe or wherever they come from to take you on a ship to what? Take you on a guided tour? Go to your travel agency and set up a tour if you want a tour. Don't expect the ship to come down and take you on a tour. They don't need you. They don't need anything you have to say or do. Yes, they monitor us because they need us for a lot of different reasons. But I'm sure you can guess what they are. And the most important is blood, not DNA. DNA is a kind of it's just what it is. Everything has a DNA. All right. Important? No. Can you change it? It's just an energy that dwells inside our body. All right. You can change DNA just by doing energy work over something. I worked with a medicine woman for 26 years, and she taught us a prayer, how to change energy of whatever we eat and drink. And it does. She worked with a scientist, and they proved it. Now, Caroline Corey, another, I won't call her the words that I would like to, saying all these things that UFOs are good, cloning, breeding, and everything else. It's not, people. They're here because we are spiritual. We're the only race out of all these so-called alien races that are spiritual. Scientific is not spiritual, people. Scientific technology has nothing to do with God. Nothing to do with God's worlds. And this is the lowest of that. So they're playing with garbage, people, meaning planet Earth and the universe, Mars, Sun, Jupiter, Venus, all those places. All the low-life aliens and everybody else are on them. And they're coming here for a reason, people. Blood, the Greys were dying out. And they've been mixing our blood, taking our ovaries, semen, to breed their little creatures and put them on another planet. All right. Now, a certain race offered us another planet just like Earth. And the United States says, no, we're not going to let you take us there. The United States has an ego. So does the Secret Service. So does the new, I won't go into the UN Agenda 21. All right. But back to MJ12. All right. They control everything, people, whether you know that or not. They're 10 times higher than the president and Congress of what's really going to happen and what's really happening right now. Everything that went down with aliens, not people, nobody in the UFO world. Oh, yes, there were ships. They were playing with ships. They were playing with ships from 1940s. But so what? All the government does is play with weapons. They're not helping people. But their purpose is to defend people. And people in the UFO world don't understand that. They get paid. Rich people paid the Army, the Navy, and the Marines to defend what? People. What people? The billionaires and millionaires. Not you and me. Who do they put on the front line? We don't need a front line anymore, but who do they put on the front line? Vietnam. People were going to Vietnam to kill children that were 14 years old. And people think we're spiritual and we're good, we're loving. I mean, people brag about, I was in Vietnam. Yeah, so what? You were a killer. If you know anything about spiritual laws, you cannot kill a person. And everybody, now Trump head is talking about this child cells and slavery and all that stuff, right? Well, guess what? That's inside families all across the United States. Sexual abuse to their children. And you're going to kill them all? Let's kill everybody that's bad. Well, why isn't Trump on the list? All right. You know, people want to believe aliens are good and they're going to help us. Well, they're thousands and thousands of years older than any of our civilizations, people. I'm going to tell you a story. The Anunnaki is a live story. Thought the Atlantean was not the storybook Atlantean. He worked for the council of 9 beings in a higher realm, higher than us, in the Esther plane, that are responsible for the movement of the universes and everything else. And he was allowed to bring 9 races down to this planet Earth. And he did. There were 9 colored races here. And right before 3 alien races destroyed the planet, 5 of them already left. Blue, crystal, green races, they all left already. They attained awareness and didn't have to stay here. All right. And now science and religious and all the words together are trying to create this, I can leave my body and become spiritual and go somewhere. Where are you going to go? If you have no clue what God is, no clue what angels are, and no clue what the worlds of God are, where do you think you're going to go? Anywhere better? Satan controls this lower realm. Period. You don't have to believe it. These children coming out and shooting people, what do you think they're doing it for? What's allowing them to do it? I watched a movie 20 years ago, and they showed children 4 and 5 years old going in the bedroom, stabbing their brother, throwing their cats out the window, and even doing masturbation in the store. A girl like, 4 or 5 years old. Where's it coming from, people? Did the mother show them how to do that? I doubt it. Aliens are reincarnating into humans now, people. And that's why all these people, well, I'm an alien. Yeah, you probably were. And the same as male or female. You were probably a male or a female in your past lives. You don't stay one race, you don't keep one genitalia. You could be men in most of your lifetimes, but you'll probably take 1 or 2 women lifetimes. You'll probably be a woman in many lifetimes and take a man 1 or 2 times, or you could just go back and forth. It's up to your karma that decides how that's going to happen to you. People, I've been involved with so many things all my life. I had 5 death experiences. All right. I spent 45 years learning to travel outside of my body, not remote viewing. That's evil, people. But I'll tell you this, George Washington was able to do it. And he did. How do you think he saw the armies and knew how to attack them and everything else? How do you think they wiped out so many native people? But Thomas Jefferson was just as evil, claiming he was bringing freedom to the white race. To the white race people, the Constitution was written by rich people. Guns were put in white man's hands to kill native people. Do you understand anything? Believe the Constitution is right for who? Rich people only. Poor people weren't allowed to vote then. I mean, look how long it took for them to allow women to vote. People, do you follow the facts? Do you follow the line of beginning to end? You should. Because all the truth is there. If you look hard enough, you can find it. When did aliens start working with people? A long time ago when they were abducting them. But the only thing that changed reality was when an alien race came down and worked with Tesla. Maybe I'll get into that today. I don't know how much. Maybe I will. But he did. He was given 200 inventions, 50 of them the most deadliest weapons on the planet, which he gave to the United States government. Oh, Tesla's so smart. No, he's not. He didn't go to college and learn all that. Einstein, even in his notes, said he worked with an alien race in dream state. Well, it's called taken. All right? So, people, are you ready to dive into truth? You're going to stand in fairyland. Or go to a UFO conference for 3 days. See what you learn, see what you understand, and see what you take home with you. That's going to help you understand anything. I'm not going to say his name, but he was in Hawaii, and I harassed him all the time in my way. He always talked about government and what they're doing. I said, well, why don't you go back to Australia and attack your government? Australia has the biggest army base on the planet. It's owned by the United States and Britain. I bet you don't even know that. Find out. All right? But again, people, we don't hear nothing about that. That's completely locked down. I have friends in Australia, and I try to get them to say anything about it, and they can't. I mean, here in Hawaii, which is the number one center for defense of the United States, okay, we have a base on top of the mountain. We have 2 HARP systems, one on this side and one on the other. All right, we're the center of defense for the United States, the first center. So now we just got a drone a couple months ago, and they're dropping bombs with it, testing it, and everything else. People, you know, what you consider beautiful is only the outer covering. If you know your beauty is only skin deep, and it is, it's only physical depth. It doesn't show the core or what's going on inside the reality of the people that dwell within that. And aliens do not have emotions like we do not have feelings like we do, and do not care the same way we do. So no matter whether they're good or bad, they don't care if they hurt you when they're doing these things to your body. They got you frozen. You can't do anything about whatever they're doing to you. And Tina, I've been doing a show with her for 2 years, people, and she's just starting to get it because it took her almost that long to get her book out. Every printing company said, we can't print it. Oh, we can't print it. But every other person that writes a UFO book, it comes right out. Why is that? Because, you know, and here's the way the government works. They allow truth out very little. But if somebody's telling a bunch of lies, they let that go out. And they feed it. Because this cover-up's the truth. So all these people lecturing and speaking and, well, I saw ships. I saw 1,000 ships at least. One in my yard. I was driving on the road and a satellite, the old kind with the blue lights and red lights spinning around it. I'm talking about 40 years ago. For about a half hour. I was on Long Island coming back. One followed me for almost 45 minutes. Because at that time, I was working with Sergeant 18 and we were dealing with what Tesla was doing with the government. I'm not going to get into that right now. Maybe I've got time. But people, if you have questions, please put them in the chat room pertaining to what we're talking about. But most people will ask dumb questions because they don't want to know the truth. When I tell you the truth, you don't want to hear it. Robert Morning Sky, was lecturing around the United States about Nibiru, Planet X, for years before anybody else. And he was doing a vision quest. And he says, well, if you come on a vision quest, you'll get to see aliens. Oh, I wanted to do it no matter what. I mean, I was studying native teachings for almost 30 years. But I talked to him and I went. And I wanted to week with him on a vision quest. Uh, I'm not going to go into the whole story. But up in Flagstaff, Arizona, there's an army base and they're cloning grays. We were supposed to go there. But a ship came over, dropped things down on the ground. Everybody ran into tents, wouldn't come out. And he told you that if the cops catch you, just say some crazy Indian told you to come here, and you'll be fined $200. I said, look, I'll stand there, let everybody run, and I'll pay the $200 fine. And nobody would go. And I did one guy that was 280 pounds, super big and macho, and I'm not going to go up there. But truth is what people are afraid of. They say don't have fear. There's only one fear you should really have, and that's fear of God, not the government, not anybody else. Pain and suffering is what you're going to suffer because you are in hell. And aliens don't care about that at all. So when I do my shows, I try to give you the latest information I have and what's going on with Tina and what's going on in Hawaii. We got more UFO stuff going on than ever. And you don't hear it. I called up the observatory. Oh, we never saw a UFO. They got a telescope. I could see mine with a little cheap monocular. All right, and film it. And they got this $1 billion they got 13 telescopes and they can't see a UFO. All right, now I also found out they're not allowed to move them around. They can't look at whatever they want. All right, now to look at the sun, you need super kind of filters because I did. I filmed the ship in front of the sun, but I almost burnt up my whole telescope. But people, do you want the truth? I'm going to give you as much as I can. All right, and I keep trying to do that. But I keep trying to tell you what you're going to get if you go to a UFO conference is a bill, $2,000 to $5,000 for a week. For what? To hear stories about somebody was working on UFOs, or the government was working on UFOs, so on. They're releasing a UFO ship within a year. It costs $40 billion. It has every deadly weapon that we know about or don't know about on it. You're going to see it soon. It's incredible. It looks so cool. But again, people, where do you think they get the technology from? I mean, all our technology came from Mr. Tesla and what he was working with. He was working with against aliens, all right? He didn't know whether it was good or bad. But when he gave us all these inventions, he said, well, you're probably not going to do anything good with them, which we are not. Now, at the end, I'll get into AI, all right? Artificial intelligence means real intelligence of an alien. And I'm telling you straight out what it is. But, and it'll be proven within a year or two, depending on how bad the world is. We've got so many things going down today, right now, and people want to believe, well, we're going to be spiritual, we're going to be six-dimensional beings, and the energy is going to be beautiful, and all that baloney. Love isn't the answer for anything, people. Most people in a relationship can't keep it even. 60 to 80% of people break up. Why is that? In the old days, they at least stayed together and worked through problems. Oh, that's a problem. I'm leaving you. Or you're not sexy enough. You're not pretty enough. Or this, that. I'm going to get somebody else. And you think aliens need that? I mean, I'll tell you this. Greys do not have sex with humans. Reptilians do. All right? Take what you can listen, believe whatever I tell you or not. There is no good race working with the human race. None. I mean, Samorians, Andromedans, and all these other words. They're not helping us. Well, I met with them, and they're going to help us. You know, when the world's contaminated, the oceans are contaminated, the lakes are contaminated, the ground's contaminated, the food's contaminated, with pushing horrible drugs on everybody, and you're not going to live long. And the main goal of UN Agenda 21-30 is to eliminate population. And it will be at least half of the population, people. No way it's going to survive. Look at what's happening. If the sun does what it does, which it's doing, they said it's going to be active now for 2 years. And here's the bad part. I didn't even tell you what that is. They said it will burn up all the satellites. Do you have a clue what that would mean? If all the satellites were taken out, even if half of them are taken out right now, the world would be in complete chaos. But there'd be no records of anything. Everything's not backed up on paper no more. Let's back it up on a computer. Everything electronic will die. What do you think's going to happen, people? Road Warrior and all those kind of movies, that was by a person that could actually see into the future of things that could happen or how it could happen. Escape from New York City. They put all the bad people in New York City. There's so many things that would help the world. Making bad people the demons and let's just kill them. When you kill a person, if somebody's bad and you kill them, are you good? You're better than them? Really? Now, okay, this guy was sentenced to death. So he goes in this room and this guy out there pushes this button, pulls the lever, and kills that person. Well, I was told to do it. I get paid to do it. He gets paid to kill people. You think that's a spiritual place to be? You think when he dies, he's going to go anywhere spiritual? People don't take their actions. Well, I got away with it. I got away with it. I can do it. I was on with one of the most famous women speakers on Coast to Coast debating her for a short time before they kicked me off. And I said, well, killing's not right. And she goes, well, if we go to another country and kill people, it's okay. Oh, it's okay, really? In your mind, it's okay to kill people in other countries because they're over there and not here? What kind of sick person? And she claims to be one. She died. So what can I say? Two of the most elderly speakers, I debated both of them. One of them, she was a complete liar. She said she created, she was in hypnosis and claimed she created a lot of things. I was doing, I called it past life regression when I was 19. She said she created it 20 years later, and I created it. I was doing it. I was working with people and stuff like that. I didn't make money because I wasn't charging for anything I ever did. I never did anything for money. I work with people. I said, you don't work with people. I mean, if they wanted to give me something, that was okay, but I wouldn't charge people. Charging for truth is the most ridiculous thing, people. It should be free to get and free to have, which the government doesn't agree with. We should have the freedom to defend our home. Period. No matter what we do, is our home, not theirs. Jefferson was a native killer. He killed a tribe. He killed all the tribes around the bottom of the United States. When he became president, then he just gave the orders. But, okay, when George Washington said, well, we're going to free this tribe and let them stay there, he gave the orders to kill 2 other tribes. Now, I don't know if you believe in reincarnation, past life, and all those things, but I'm aware of all of mine back to Atlantis. I was at Wounded Knee. I watched them slaughter us. I went up to Wounded Knee. I laid on the ground where it happened. I had all kinds of visions right there then, again. I could tell you in detail what went down. And they say, well, blah, blah, blah. Well, they just killed women and children. There was only about 6 men there, and I was one of them. More got slaughtered, but it was the women and children they were killing. Wounded Knee is a horrible story. And that was white people. And people thought it was okay to kill Native people. Why? Well, just call them demons. And that's why they relate them to the devil, the red skin, and all that. Moses did the same thing. When he came up the mountain, he classified all the people that were into sex and everything else, demons. He killed about 3,000 people. He had them all killed. People, you think religious people are religious? I can go into that. That'll be a different show because I try to keep the spiritual side totally separate. Because UFO world is not anything close to being spiritual at any level. No alien race is spiritual. If you were spiritual, the word that goes with that, and I'm telling you the truth, and I know too many people, one person that I did a show with 12 years claimed she came out with the word in the 80s. And the word is called ascension. Not ascending, ascension. Ascending means you're moving from here up to there, which people do when they die. But ascension, people going through ascension, claiming they went through ascension. There's only 2 people that I know in all of history that went through it. Do you want me to tell you who they are? Jesus and Mary Magdalene. They were both the highest spiritual beings on this planet. Now, hold on. Let me let my little guy in. Coming in, mister? Come on, hurry up. Okay, getting back to Mary Magdalene. They never gave her credit because she was a woman. They wouldn't classify a woman as anything. But her and Thomas were the only people that left the country. Thomas went to India and started teaching Jesus' teachings there. All right, all the rest were killed, tortured, killed. You couldn't do the technique Jesus taught his disciples. That's not in the Bible. All right, there's a lot of things that weren't put in the Bible or taken out of the Bible, however you want to word it. And those people in those days, did they know shorthand? Did they have tape recorders? You think they could remember anything over an hour? We can't today. So if Jesus was talking for 10 hours, you think they remembered everything he said or anything he said? People, you believe and believe and believe what? Lies. The UFO world is becoming the biggest lie today. Now, Putin met with Trump, and you know what he told him? I want you to tell the world what you're doing with aliens. Seriously, people, I'm not making that up. He also told Trump, I want you to tell the truth of what happened at 9/11. You know, the day after he met Trump met Putin, he created the Space Army the day after. You know, Putin did that 3 months before Trump was elected president, and he directed it to Trump. Why? How and why would he know, and why would he do that? All right, people, you have to follow the little lines where there's little writings in there, not the big lies and stories. All these UFO people, please, they're lying to you. They have no clue. Aliens aren't good. There's no good aliens. Well, I work with the good aliens. And what did they do? Did they give us one thing, people, other than 50 deadly weapons? Oh, free energy. Free energy is going to be dangerous in the very near future, people, just so you know. AI means it can be and do what it thinks by itself. So it's not a chip anymore. It's reality. Now, the technology we have is to 2023 and goes back, 100 years. Their technology goes back hundreds of thousands of years, people. You don't think they understand energy and how to put thoughts into energy, how they program a person to totally believe something totally different and totally believe it now. When Eisenhower was president, he had to follow what Truman set up. Truman set it up so that people, when they get abducted, and this is for real, people, you don't have to accept this either. And UFO people don't talk about the truth. Well, Truman said, you can abduct them, but you have to make sure they don't remember what happened. And that lasted a long time. If I didn't work with people and people that do into past life regression and things like that, they wouldn't really find out what happened during that missing time. But we're adaptive and we grew. And people started becoming aware of what happened. So guess what? We can't let that happen anymore. So instead of taking away their memory, feed them a better, different energy. Like, oh, it was a good trip, and oh, they served me a nice meal, and every other baloney story that they can. Or they saw all the universes. And if they traveled that fast, their body'd be destroyed, people. The lies are based on a thinking, not their physical body. The physical body can't travel the speed of sound, the speed of light, and their ships do. We film ships traveling at the speed of light. Now, and what I'm telling you should watch is the Stardust Ranch. But it's changing because my friend who killed 18 Grays died, or should say killed last year. But then go over to the Skinwalker Ranch. You should watch that because that's on TV now every week. And they're showing more and more stuff. They're going on tour. They're going to start making money and everything else. But besides that, They won't get back to me. Not one person will get back to me in the UFO world. They're all deathly afraid to face the truth. Every one of them. Person that was on Hawaii moved out of Hawaii even, and I told him go back to Australia. Don't move back to the United States. You're attacking our government. I don't attack our government. They're getting paid to do what they do, and they did defend the United States, and so did Russia. We had wars in space, and you don't hear any UFO people talking about that. Why is that? I saw it here in Hawaii. I saw 2 ships get blown up in an hour. All right. I can go on. I had a film. My computer was stripped. Everything was gone. I had a picture of U.S. In U.S. Denver Airport where it said U.S. New World Order in the floor in steel. Nobody has that. Nobody has it. And it was there for 2 years before they ripped it out and put a fountain over it. And they had murals on the wall showing you dead Native people, dead Black people, dead Jewish people. Do you understand anything? It could be right in front of your face, and that's probably the last place you're going to look or think about something. I'm getting old, and I'm kind of staring at something. Where is it? Where is it? Come back. Oh, it's right there, right on the table in front of my face. But you know, they always say hide it in plain sight. And it works because your mind's thinking it has to be somewhere. But aliens are playing with us, people. And it's for many reasons. Not because they love us, not because they're going to help us. I mean, if you want to know more truth, go into finding out about the underground cities inside the United States alone. Understand what hydroponics means. I'm going to tell you something real funny, if you want to laugh. You know California went into a water shortage? That's funny, right? You know where that water went? Underground. It was pumped into the city. People, things just don't happen. They're preparing for the plates to move inside the United States. And they are. And what's happening with the planet right now is upsetting everything. If you pull up the earthquake chart, you'll see earthquakes from 5 to 6 to 7. There was 3 days ago, there was 7.2, 6.9. I mean, they're incredible. The temperature's rising. All right. The water is always staying the same. So, like Hawaii, we have volcano going off and takes away and builds more land. But when land pops up, other land has to go down. It's always about a 77% level, and it can't go above or below that. And then we got flat people believe the earth is flat. Scientists that believe it because they're not aware that obviously they don't know how to leave their bodies. They don't know any of the important things that soul came here for. And Greys and Reptilians, the Mantis, the Nordics aren't helping you people. The Nordics are not spiritual beings. If they wear white and have blue eyes and blonde hair, Jesus didn't have that even. So to believe that they're spiritual because of that, are you for real? What did they do for you now? The UFO world, I listen to them all the time. And the worst person I know in the UFO world is Stephen Greer. Disclosure isn't going to happen. It happened a long time ago. I mean, if an alien's walking in front of the White House, how many people are going to believe it's real, a real alien? But until it becomes 1,000 times more real, people aren't going to accept it. Now, and people say, well, we got a movement. Stephen Greer has a following. Now, people like the Galactic Federation, they have about 2-3 million people following it. Another program. Now, people like Nasser Harriman, at the end of his workshops, he tries to bring people into meditation and bring them on the ship. You know, they have not done anything. And just to show you how twisted and perverted and every other word you can imagine, Nasser Harriman, I went to see his conference. I didn't pay for it. He was charging $500 for 3 days. He claims to have the Ark of the Covenant. He has the Ark of the Covenant. He said the other one the government has. He won millions of dollars so he could link his with the one the government has so he can change the vibration of the planet. He's saying he's God. People, these are the people in the UFO world. Melchizedek, drum below Melchizedek, years ago, claims he worked with the people inside the earth. and he was going to bring them out to the world. He said he brought 100 people down inside the earth and showed them and introduced them, and he's going to bring them out. That was how many years ago? And he completely disappeared from anything, right? You know, we hear lies, lies, and more lies. When's the truth going to come out? Now, people in the UFO world have no clue of the real truth. Like I said, I could go on about all these things they will not talk about. Oh, well, we might lose our show. We might lose. Well, deal with the truth, and the only way you'll get taken out is if the government doesn't want what you're saying out there. But you know, if enough people say it or see it, it becomes reality. Now, the difference between somebody like a whistleblower coming out and somebody proving it in a lab is the amount of people that follow it. Most people think that a whistleblower is telling the truth. And if he is, like Snowden, what do they do to him? The truth cannot come out in the United States about aliens. It can't. And they can't release it. And my personal friends, meaning 16, have been taken out in the UFO world, including 2 super famous people. Now, when I deal with people, the first thing I say, well, where do you stand? How many good aliens do you know? What do you think they're going to do for us? How can they help us really? What can they do for us? If we go backwards, we would be better off than going forward. They're going to release a car that actually flies next year. All right. How do you think that's going to go over? All right. We got so many things happening at a speed where we're trying to catch up to. And artificial intelligence already said this is what we're going to try to create. That should be shown to the world probably within the next year, how they know it, and that it's alive. And Mr. Musk says, don't worry about it. We got it under control. We can control it. No, you can't. Can't control a live entity. I mean, they do that to people. I mean, to tell a robot they can't kill something. Do you know that they're putting robots on the streets in New York City already? What kind of weapons are they going to give them? Tasers and things and everything else, all this other stuff. When we got a drone going into a country or a city or whatever, what do you think's happening, people? Sure, right now they control it, but like a car that drives itself. Well, make a turn here. Oh, go down. No, it's doing itself. Okay. It all seems like it's just because an electronic thing says this has to happen. But when it thinks beyond the box, which it will, which it already is. Now, Japan has an actual looking human being. Robot. There's almost everything. They built it really pretty. It does everything. It looks very human. The skin looks very human. It talks very human. If they pretended them out on the street, people would not know they're fake. I guess if they really touched them and went like this and that, you might find something a little bit different. But people, you're ready to move forward? In what direction? For who? Any of that is going to help you with your children. Is it going to help you what you're going to teach your children? How you're going to protect your children? And what your children are supposed to or want to do? Are you going to help them with that? Are you going to program your children? Most parents program their children, which is an abuse right then and there, never mind sexual abuse and everything else. People, if you follow the mainstream, you're not going to get anywhere. And here in Hawaii, most people do not have a TV. They don't know the news. They're not aware what's really going on. So if they pick a president or anything, they have no clue what's going on around that. Now, I'm not going into the stories, but Trump is not into Native people. I mean, no white person in the old days were either. They got paid for every scalp they could get. And you don't think they were scalping as many people as they could? It said, no, the Native people scalped the white people. It wasn't the white people scalping. The white people were scalping the Native people. The Native people weren't scalping the white people. They were taking their fingers. But again, it was a lot of money for a man. It was like today's salary, money, whatever, like $80 for a man, $60 for a woman. and $40 for a child. You got paid to kill a child. Well, they're demons, or they're bad. You tell yourself whatever you want to do whatever you want. That's called playing God. Justifying what you do is called playing God. And I tell people, if you don't have a fear of God, you don't have a fear of truth. You rather live in a lie, and UFO people do. UFOs, Sergeant 18 and I shot more actual photographs and pictures of UFOs than anybody else. I'm talking about ships, not a dot going around in circles or none of that. An actual ship. Now, if you go onto Instagram and places like that, watch the videos from other countries. They're not all fake. Even if 10 out of 1,000 is real, 10 are real. All right, people? I'm not going to go much further. I don't know if you're bored or whatever, but truth isn't what most people want. But my email address is hawksblood1@aol.com. If you have questions, please, I'll just put it up there in case. What's going on in my chat room? Where'd it go? I lost my chat room. And I got taken out of my chat room. How's that possible? I didn't have that much problems today, which is cool. I'm having a lot of problems with things happening to my show. So, Tuesday, I do my show with Tina Bird, if she's okay, if she's not in the hospital or anything. Outside of that, I'm going to try to do a spiritual show within a week, all right? And get into that a little more. I know people, and the UFO world, how many people do you think around the planet follow the UFO world or into it? Just so you know, for numbers, there's 2.5 billion Christians on the planet. There's 2.3 billion Muslims on the planet. And you think you're going to switch over to aliens? Do you really believe that? Do you think so? Then you got 2,000 religions in between all that. And they all have their own God or own belief. I mean, Buddha didn't believe in God, so it's a totally different kind of a religion. And then it's man's definition of religion. If you don't believe in God, what is it? Believing in reality? Believing in awareness? Whatever words. Consciousness. People give everything that they feel, think, or whatever, a different word. We live in a delusion if we believe this is what God wanted us to be and stay here on this planet. Very few people do anything good. I mean, little jobs that we take create karma. But you'll learn after lifetime, after lifetime, after lifetime. Might not even be this planet when you're going to come back. But don't worry, you're not going to be aware of much either when you do come back. Soul doesn't move forward very fast, especially when it's in hell, allowed to create karma. Oh, I can get away with it. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I can. No, you can't. For the Christians, they don't even read their own Bible. I mean, the Catholics believe they could go to church and ask for forgiveness. Well, that's because they didn't read Revelations. In Revelations, it says what you can't be forgiven for, which is just about everything that they think they can get away with and just say they're sorry and do 10,000 Hail Marys or whatever they're going to do. People, we're in a really screwed up world, and people don't respect anybody. Never mind children. They're more concerned about saving a butterfly or a bird than their child. And that's pretty sad, even though they're not doing that either. Dolphins and the whales are being wiped out. Sharks are being wiped out. The elk are being wiped out. I can go on and on about what's happening with that, but people, we're destructive beings. We weren't always that way, but for 2,000 years, we have been. All right? Going back 100,000 years ago, we weren't in Atlantis. All right, I know you don't want to hear anymore, but peace, love, compassion, whatever you need in your life, I hope you get it. Don't stop. Don't give up. Don't stop trying ever. Don't accept the lies. Stand for the truth. Just because somebody says it, well, I believe it. I don't care what they believe. Do you believe it? If you didn't experience it, you don't have to believe it. And, even in the Bible, it says you're not responsible for what you don't know. And that's why you reincarnate. You learn good and bad for living in this reality. And if you can't follow the guidelines, which is thou shalt not kill, which is a good one, or you don't have the right to invade somebody else's space without being invited into it. It's a law of non-interference, the most spiritual law in this reality. And 99% of all people destroy that, play with it every day. Peace, love. Enjoy yourself. Have a good day. Till next time.